Please confirm you can see my screen.
Yes, we can see you. I can see Kingsley, Ezuruike,
Thank
business
you.
consultant, business analyst.
Thank you so much.
All right.
All right. So the next person who will be taking us on the third session of today's class is none other than Kingsley Ezuruike. Kingsley is a business consultant and business analyst specializing in business transformation, process optimization, and digital innovation across diverse industries. He has extensive experience implementing ERP solutions such as Odoo and Zoho, helping organizations streamline operations, automate processes, improve customer engagement, and enhance overall business performance. His expertise includes business analysis, requirements gathering, process mapping, solution design, stakeholder management, and successful technology adoption. In addition to ERP implementations, Kingsley supports organizations in achieving operational excellence through the implementation of international standards such as ISO 9001, ISO 27001, and ISO 22301. He also leverages enterprise architecture and transformation frameworks such as TOGAF to align business strategy with technology, improve governance, and drive sustainable organizational growth. His passion lies in helping businesses build scalable systems, optimize performance, and achieve long-term success through innovation and continuous improvement. Ladies and gentlemen, with a clapping of hand in the chat room, please let's welcome our third trainer who will be taking us now on business analysis with the topic strategic context for business analysis. Kingsley, please, if you are right there, you can take it over from here.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Mercy. Thank you, Mercy. Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much. I believe I'm audible enough. Kindly confirm if I am audible enough.
Loud and clear.
Yes, loud and clear.
Loud and
Beautiful.
clear.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. And welcome once again to this session. Also confirm you can see my screen.
Yeah, we
It's
can see
coming
it.
up.
Yes, we can see
Okay.
your screen.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So it's good to have us on the call once again.
Yes, Mr.
For us
Kingsley,
to.
excuse me, please.
Okay.
Please,
Okay.
everyone, if you have any question in this session, you can raise up your hand in order for us to maintain decorum, or you can ask in the chat room. Mr. Kingsley will be on the chat room and he will be taking your questions. Thank you so much.
All right. That's fine. Thank you, Messi. Maybe you can call my attention since I am not entirely on the screen to
That's
follow
fine.
up the chat. All right. So when there's a chat, you can call my attention because I'm projecting my screen so it will be visible to every one of us. All right. Thank you once again. So want to look at the strategic context for business analysis. I understand the fact that Dr. Orlando built a good background around business analysis, its values proposition, and how every one of us in the world should
Excuse me,
have.
sir.
All right, go ahead, Messi.
Please put your screen on projection mode.
Yes, it is.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So everyone confirm that my screen is on projection mode, that it's very visible to all of us. Maybe I should cancel and redo that again.
Yes,
How
please, you
about
can
now?
cancel and reload.
Okay, how about now? Is it there? Are we good?
It's not on presentation mode.
Presentation mode.
So I didn't hear you, sir. Come again. Was it on presentation mode? Because I've exited right now. I just want to make sure that we are.
Oh, no, it's not.
Okay. So how about now? How about now, please? Quickly confirm that. Hello, people. Hello. Confirm you can see my screen.
I can
And
hear you.
is it
Nothing
on present?
changed.
So nothing changed, sir.
Oh, really? What could be the problem? Is it entirely from my end? But right now, you can see
I
me
think
hovering
I
my
think you
mouse.
should.
You can see me hovering my
I think
mouse.
you should. Mr. Kingsley,
Yes, I'm with you. I
Uh,
can hear you.
I, I think you should stop sharing and then reshare.
All right, that's fine. Let me do that.
I can see you hovering your mouse, okay?
All right. So is it visible now? And is he on the presentation mode?
I can see the strategic context for business analysis with Information College logo
All
beside.
right.
So
And it's
Yes,
visible.
it
It's
is.
very visible. I'm projecting, right?
yes,
Yeah.
very, very clear enough,
All right.
visible.
Thank you. So I was saying that Dr.
So,
Lando walked
sorry,
us
it's
through.
clear, but it's not in
He's not still on
the
a
projector
presentation mode.
mode.
What could be the problem?
He's still on the
No,
regular.
look at your cursor. And here, your cursor shifted to the third. You're not pressing the right what do I call it? The button. Yes, move to your to your right.
Mm-hmm.
Your cursor, move your cursor to your right.
Mm-hmm.
There's a presentation right, the next one. Then you click it.
Mm-hmm.
The next one by your right.
Yeah, now
Yeah.
that's what I've been clicking all the while. That's what I've been
Uh,
clicking all the while. Yeah. So how far
okay.
is he up now?
No,
No
but we can
difference.
still go on like that. At least we are seeing it.
Oh,
You,
I'm
you,
very
sir, you
sorry. I
can
don't
use the
know.
slideshow on the PowerPoint pane. You can try the slideshow on the one of the PowerPoint pins. The slideshow there, click it and then see if that works. Slideshow
Uh,
and see if you change it to presentation from that on the pane.
okay.
Home,
Okay.
insert, design, transition, animation, slideshow.
Let me try that and see if it works. Because I've virtually the normal way
After
I
animation.
This is slideshow here.
yeah. I've
Yes,
seen it.
yes.
Yeah. So let's try this and see if it works.
Why not double
Is
click? Why not
is
double
it
click on your slide? Double
on the
click on the
slide?
slide.
And but
Double
any of
click.
the above? I don't know.
Double click.
I've used slideshow. Is it on the presentation mode?
It's not, but we can see. I think our
But
advice
it's
is you
fine.
can just go ahead
I
most of
think
the time.
it's fine. If you cannot be enlarged, you are fine.
Yes, we
Seriously,
can see it. We can just go on.
I've exhausted all I know I can do.
That's actually how WPS slideshow shows, except you go and use PowerPoint. I can see you're using
Oh,
the
it's not PowerPoint. Now I
slideshow.
see.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm using WPS. Yeah.
Yeah. It's showing that that's what you're using. Yeah, I
All
can
right. So
see.
Okay, Mr.
if you
Kingsley,
can see
I
my
think we can go
screen,
ahead.
all right,
Yes, you
that's
can
Yeah,
see
you
it.
are fine. We are fine. Go ahead.
all
Yes.
right. So beautiful. All right. So as BAs, right? Because I will call us BAs going forward. Because I strongly believe that at the end of this sessions, that will all come out very strong as professional business analysis. Of course, I want to believe we'll have so many people on the call already doing business analysis. However, there's something about being intentionally delivering as a business analyst and also, carrying out some business analysis processes or functionalities and all of that. So yes, I would like to bring to our notice that as BAs, we are problem solvers, we are solution enablers, right? We help organizations to make sure they drive, or we help organizations to drive value. We help them to position their businesses from point A to point B, C, D. We help a problem, organizational problem as it is, right, to solve, will help organizations solve what problem they are having at a particular time. It can be tied to processes. It can be tied to, the full organization improvement or, growth. So yes, we should see ourselves as that. So for this session, we'll be looking at the strategic context for BAs, right? For business analysis, what should we be looking out for? When we come to an organization for value delivery, what should we look out for? What is the vision of the organization? I like the first training we had today, where we get to talk about personal improvement. What's your vision? What are the goals tied to actually achieving that vision? How do you strategically align yourself? How do you position yourself? How do you look at the vision, the future? How do you look at it? What's the picture? What is what is that thing you have that you want to achieve? And how do you position yourself to achieving that? Right? So that's what we are looking at in this session. We need to understand the strategy and the importance of the strategy as BAs, right? We need to, always ensure we analyze the internal, the external business environment. There are frameworks, there are there are things we need to put in place to ensure that we actually understand internally what the issues we are having. Externally, also, we need to consider our external environment to make sure that we build a solution that is addressing the problem at the time. Are we good? We need to apply when we are able to picture those things or putting in place those factors, right? We need to look for tools. There are tools for as BAs. There are tools we need to look at to ensure that the strategic vision, the strategic goal of the organization is achieved. So we need to be contextual about those strategies and how we deliver them, how we align them to achieving the goal as BAs. Are we good? Confirm that I am on the third slide, everyone. So we know that we are in the same pace.
Oh,
And
is the first slide I'm seeing here.
To
The
the
first
first
slide,
slide.
I've not moved.
this is
Okay,
serious. This is
now I can
serious.
see. Now I'm just
Now
seeing the
you're on
third
the
slide.
third slide.
Oh, so you didn't see this slide when I was talking about how we get to understand the strategy and its importance.
No, I doubt.
We're
Oh,
just seeing it.
Oh, so sorry, so sorry. That was why I asked, because for it not to be showing the presentation mode, maybe it will be lagging when I'm going through my slides. Okay, maybe I'll just take this off and use
you
this
can be doing
normal
it
view.
manually.
Yeah, let me use the normal view, right? So we all be in the same pace. Okay, yes. So I said we need to understand the strategy and the importance, right? We need to also analyze our internal and external environment so we can be able to drive that solution to meet the stakeholders' expectation. All right. We need to also apply strategic tools. All of that will be seen in the course of this training for this session, right? And how we can understand aligning all the strategy of the organization, all the frameworks we are adopting, how we can align it to achieve the business goal at the end of the day. All right, so introducing the strategic context. Strategy, right? I believe the first trainer for today touched something around it, and it was basically personal. All right. I learned that, questions was asked and people were putting up their vision, strategy, and some people are also talking about their weaknesses and actualization of, having those strategies in place and all that. So as BAs, we need to be contextual about our strategy. Strategic context refers to the environment. Environment matters a lot to how we can position the strategy or align with the strategy of the organization. What are the conditions that are tied to delivering the value that we are brought in to do as BAs, right? What are those conditions tied to the strategic goal of the organization, right? What are those factors that can influence the organizational decisions and business change initiative, right? We need to understand this context because it is very fundamental to how effective we can, do our job, or we can deliver value as BAs. Are we good? Why this matters? It matters a lot because yes, we so like I said, BAs are problem solvers. BAs are so try to understand when I say BAs, business analyst, right? Because like I said in the inception of this class, I want to address us as that because yes, I strongly believe that at the end of this session or this entire training in itself, we will be business analysts going forward. And as business analysts, our function is delivering business analysis, right? So in quote, what we are problem solvers. So for us to be strategic in the context of the organization we are delivering value for, we need to consider the environment, we need to consider the conditions, and every other factor that may affect, the organizational decision to what value you want to deliver for them. Why we need to be contextual about our strategies? Because yes, we need to provide, direction for the business to drive their decisions. Are we good? We need to provide direction. And all of this is not, yes, you have that picture in your head of course the organization before you were brought in as a B, the organization, every organization, just the same way we have our individual vision, goals, organizations do have theirs also. They are looking at, okay, in 5 years, where will I be? What should I be? You understand? So when they are able to consume where, what, when, how, all of these things are tied to us as bees, right? When they're able to have this clear picture, of course, it needs a whole lot to be able to achieve this as a BA, right? So coming into the organization, that your data engagement with the stakeholders, you need to be positioned as BA. You need to be strategic to understand the context of the organization. I don't know if the person that treated our colleague that treated quality management system, I don't know if it mentioned context of the organization. I don't want to go there, but however, right, all of these things are tied to delivering value because it will help us in providing direction for the business, for them to be able to decide, oh, okay, oh, this should go, okay, oh, we actually need this. As a BA, when you're unable to put all of these things clearly, when you're unable to document clearly, when you're unable to communicate clearly, right, you will not help the organization achieve business decision on on their trajectory, right? You understand? We need this to help us also, to help us as BA, to help organizations to respond to their opportunities and threats. When we are able to factor in these areas that will help our strategic delivery, our environment, our internal and external conditions, that are tied to our strengths and our weaknesses, all of the other factors, because as organization, as a business, right, as a business in quote, right, we have regulatory bodies. So we need to also understand, some we need to understand some policies in place, what has changed. We need to also align it to that business in itself, or that environment, or that solution that we want to deliver. So it will help us really respond to what our opportunities are. Of course, we'll be able to use the SWOT framework to get a picture of what our strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats are, right? So this will help us to respond to that. It will also ensure that business analysts support organizational goals, because that is the essence of why we are BAs. Every business has a problem. If a business is able to identify their problem as a business, our expertise as BA is needed to be able to, put a structure around it. We need to understand the context of the organization. We need to understand what the strategy goal they are looking out for. And we also need to align our solution proposition, the value we are delivering. We need to align it to that strategy or the vision of the business so we can achieve that goal they are expecting. Right? Are we good? Are we good? Any question before I go ahead? Or I should just go ahead? Let me go to the chat because I want this to be very, very, interactive and all of that. If there's any question, like Messi said, do well to ask, and always do well to call my attention when I'm being too fast or there's something that is not clear enough for us to understand. All right. In the absence of that, I'll go back to my slide. Oh, okay. I am on the third slide, introduction to strategic context. Are we together? Kindly confirm we are together, please. Oh, okay. Thank you, Anthony. Thank you very much. All right. Okay, so the next slide, we need to, have an understanding of what strategy is and also the characteristics of strategy that we are looking at in the context of this session. All right, so strategy, I believe the first trainer we had today threw more light on this. However, let me also share with us as BA. Strategy is the long-term direction of an organization. Strategy. How do we get from point A to point B? What is our long-term vision? What is our long-term goal? In 5 years, what are we looking to have, or how can we be able to position our business? Are we good? So strategy are those set of choices that determines how we compete in the market. Who are our competitors? How do we position? How do we, make sure that we are there? We are not lagging, or left behind. Are we good? So how we compete in that industry, what are the resources, personnel, tools, and all of that makes up resources. Finance is tied to it. Of course, you can't invest in something that's not going to help you achieve that your strategy goal or your strategic goal, right? So those resources, who are that's where the BA comes in now. That's where you now also the BA will now be looking at the strength of the organization. Who are the employees? What are their strengths? Are we good? So all of these are also resource allocation, and also the strategic objective, strategic goal, over a period of time. We should be here. We should be able to move from point A to point B or point C, D, and as it goes, right? We've seen how today IT is growing so fast. Internet is, in fact, I can't even say much about it. We all know. And also how we've had internet for over years now, but we've seen the internet space there's a change. You understand? So as a business, if you're not moving or positioning yourself to be meeting up with all of this, everybody's leveraging AI. Every business is. In fact, if you want to stay afloat, if you want to be competitive, there are tools you need to be looking out for. And there are AI integrations you need to be looking out for. Very tailored to your organization, very tailored to your business goals. That way you're moving. Are we good? You see that we are achieving goals, and all of these things don't just happen, just like that. There are processes, there are, people, BAs that are needed, BAs that are smart, BAs that should understand how, to be positioned and to help a business, position and achieve their goals. Are we good? So characteristics of the strategies. Yes, we need to be looking at our long-term plans. what is our long-term goal? What is our long-term vision? Right? So this is a characteristic of strategy. We need to have a core organizational orientation of how we want to achieve success. In 5 years' time, how do we move? How do we upgrade? What can we do better to, move us from here to here? In 10 years, how should this business be positioned? This is our long-term focus. It is a characteristic of our strategy. We should be looking at our long-term trajectory, right? And also, the people, resources is very key. We need to position ourselves to get that money to, be able to achieve that growth or that trajectory we are looking out for, right? What are the efforts we need to put in place? What are the strengths of the people? Do we hire more capable hands, or do we train the people we have on ground? What are those training that they need to have to be able to help us achieve our strategic goal? And also, we need to always look out, what are our competitors doing? We need to position ourselves better so we can compete, we can outsmart, we can outperform, we can be there while, every other person playing within that space is looking at us or looking onto us or up to us. Are we good? So yeah, we really need to look at these things properly. Let's understand the strategy and the tactics to follow for us to achieve long-term focus. It starts with short-term actions. So yeah, from here to here, from A to B, what do we put in place? What do we have? How do we align those things we have to move from A to B? We can't just move from A to C or A to D or E or F or Z, right? We need to be very, very intentional and strategic about, steps. Of course, yes, our long-term goal is definitely tied to our short-term actions, right? For us to be able to define our directions or achieve our direction, the defined direction that we have of moving from point A to Z, we need to define how we execute our trajectory from A to B, from B to C, and all of that, right? We need to, really, really, really be intentional about our execution. Of course, all of this strategy, we know that it is developed by the leadership of the organization. The strategic goal, the strategic vision is, tied to the leadership. They should be committed to this thing. They should be very, 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 very objective about this thing. Of course, how to drive it is tied to the team or the other part of the stakeholders or part of the stakeholders. So when we have the board of stakeholders or head of departments or the leadership, the other stakeholders are also, in fact, the customers are part of the stakeholders. The B is delivering the solution to the organization, right? It is tied to the team in the organization that is to deliver this. So yes, of course, that's why we have the tactics to deliver this or to achieve this is, the implementers of the team that is implementing that strategic goal and vision of the organization. Are we good? All right. So why organization needs this strategy? It is very important that as BE, we make sure that the organization have their strategic goal, declare visions. There should be, like I said, and making reference to the first training today, it was very personal. It is for us. I'm happy and very grateful for Transformation College, putting up this the training plan and how the training will go daily. Right. Today's session started for personal, and now we are looking at organization as B is, right? We need our strength. We need our strength around getting the training which we are doing, exposing ourselves to a whole lot of things out there, so we can be able to, have an engagement with stakeholders to deliver value. Are we good? So organization is strategy to build or to put clear picture, clear vision of their success, or how they want to move, how they want to, make sure that they're advancing in that space they're playing, or in that industry they're playing. All right. So resource efficiency, right? We need to be timely in achieving those strategic goals. What is the financial implication? What kind of training um do we give to the people or the personnel we have on ground? How, or do we need a BA? All of this we need to tie them to how we achieve the strategy, or the strategic goal of every organization. Yeah, better decision making, right? So there are frameworks, like I said, we'll be treating some things for putting or having a strategic context. There are some frameworks we'll be looking at in the course of this training. And what we need to also define our competitive advantage, right? We need to build capabilities, that differentiate the organization from our competitors. Are we good, people? Are we good? So without clear strategy about, our business goals, our organizational goals, without putting strategy in place, we'll be wasting resources, we'll be wasting time. The project or whatsoever we are looking to achieve will lose focus. The business goal won't be clear enough for us to be able to achieve that strategic goal or objective, right? So we need to always ensure that as BAs, we look at these things, tied to the organization we are to deliver values to, or values for. Are we good, people? All right. So now this is business analysts, BAs, and strategic context. Are we good? Business analysis is the work we do as BAs, as business analysts. Now, tying into strategic context. As a solution provider, the strategy of the organization is to achieve XYZ, or an organization needs to, automate their processes. So as a BA now, you're that bridge. You're the middleman. Like, yes, this is the organization with the leadership and all that at the top, right? And we also have delivering of the strategic goal, positioning in the strategic context. I wish I can use an illustration, but I believe we understand what picture I'm trying to paint, right? Okay. We are that bridge, we are that middleman, between the business and its strategic goal actualization. Are we good? So business analysts act as the bridge between organizational strategy and day-to-day change initiative, right? Our role ensures that every solution delivers genuine business value. I use our role because we are BAs. I'm a BA. We on this call are BAs. So when we sit between the business and the actualization of the strategic goal or strategic objective, we get to understand, or put together the ideas, the initiative, the understanding of the business goal, the strategic goal, and all of that. We need to understand the strategy, the organizational goal. When we do, this is what they are looking at. Okay, this as a solution provider, this is how, this is what, this is where all of the 5 Ws on 1H, as BAs, we shouldn't forget that to be able to achieve value, because we need to understand what solution we are to provide, when will the solution be provided, where and where can we get the solution, or where can we impute the solution. Who are the people, receiving this, and how we can do this. 4Ws and 1H. As BAs, we should always have that at the back of our mind. So understanding that spans from how you translate high level strategy into actionable requirements. Requirements, we can't do without it. We ask the right questions. We get to understand, because you can't profile solution of a problem you don't understand. So organizational goals are easier said. However, achieving them is another part of it. So when you understand that their goal as a BA, you can be able to translate that strategic goal to actionable requirements by putting together what should be done and how it should be done, when it should be done, and all of that. All right, so we need to be able to identify opportunities, and propose changes that align with their goals. Are we good? We also need to ensure that put good initiative. That's why I said we need to be exposed to things. We need to don't limit ourselves to how we expose ourselves to organizational processes, process automation. All of these things are value propositions that BAs deliver. So we need to ensure that our initiatives stay on track, the initiative of the organization stay on track, and also that the intended outcome is being achieved. All right. I am confirmed I am in slide 7. So I know that we are flowing together. Let me look at the chat box. Are we together? I'm on slide 17. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Anthony. Thank you, Emmanuel. All right. Okay. So strategy development approaches. What are those approaches that we should consider or that we should put in place? Or what are those approaches that the organization should have? Or what approach do we guide the organization to put in place to be able to achieve their strategic goals? Are we good? Yeah, so organizations choose a development approach based on their industry, the size of the organization, the environment they're operating. Are we good? Each approach has distinct strengths and trade-offs. So as BAs, as that solution providers that we are, of course, the organization will choose, this is what we want. Of course, we are working for them. So we are not entirely deciding for them. However, we are to align with them to achieve, their expectation. So we are not telling them this. No. BA will try to ensure that you're not making the organization or the stakeholders look like they don't know what they are saying. Are we good, people? So yeah, ours is to align, have an understanding of the picture they are painting or what they want to achieve. So yours is to make sure that what you want to deliver to them meets up with their achievement. You can also help to fine-tune what that thing in that picture in their head. You also just help to put it clear, make it clear enough. It has to be clear. The vision has to be clear. Making it clear, is tied to a whole lot, which we've treated in the previous slides. Now, to develop approaches around these things, we need to look at the adaptive strategy. We need to be adaptive to the strength of, getting feedbacks. For us to be able to adapt well within that space, are we good? We need to be flexible. We need to be, responsive, and also leverage on feedback loops. Somebody wants to say something? Is there a question? I heard a voice. Yeah, you need the support of board members, right? Of course, you can't just work alone. So those board members are what we call your stakeholders. Yeah. Bello, right? Yes, of course. Because the difficulty in driving change where it is needed. Which category of manager does a B? Okay, so like I said, you're part of the stakeholders. All right, Bello. So yes, you sit with these business owners, you sit with the process owners, the departmental head. So many people in the strategic goal of the organization are tied to the department, the unit, the staff within that department. Of course, you as a BA, you're part of the stakeholders. There's a lag somewhere in that department. Things are not going well. How do we make things go well? The resources to make it go well is tied to the leadership of the organization. The personnel within that, process, it is also tied to them also. What are their strengths? How do we achieve these things? Why are we having this gap? What should we do better? What are those things to put in place to do better? How do we have this business, go from point A to B? Are we good? So yes, Bello, right? Yeah. Of course, you can't do it without the stakeholders. The stakeholders brings you in, even while you're working or where we all work as I believe we have top managers here, we have business owners here. Of course, business owners here, I believe one way or the other, you're finding a gap in a particular process within your organization. So how do you remedy it? What do we put in place to remedy it? By so doing, you're looking for, okay, these people needs to go for training. What training do they need to go to? We need a tool. We need an automation tool. How do we achieve it? So Bello, all of these are tied to leadership, top management. And of course, as BAs, we are also part of the stakeholders. The customer of the organization we are working for are part of the stakeholders. The end users of the solution we are proposing or whatsoever we are putting in place, they are all part of stakeholders. Are we good people? Okay, so we use this approach, adaptive approach. We also use a linear strategy approach, whereby we have structured and predictable formal long-term planning cycles, right? We just need to have that strategy goal clear, just so we can achieve or help the business or the organization achieve their goal. And also there's another approach called the hybrid strategy, whereby we bring together the adaptive and the linear approach to be able to achieve the hybrid strategy, right? Which is most common in the modern organization because we need to balance stability and innovation. All right, these three approaches are how we can develop strategy and also achieve strategic goals. Okay, so now the next slide, confirm that we've moved to slide 8, the understanding of the strategic context. Sorry, I'm moving. Okay, Manuel, thank you. All right, Loretta, thank you. Okay, all right, so let's go ahead. Understanding the let me zoom in a bit. I'm sorry. I believe I think these things will be shared also to all of us. And yeah. Okay, so quick one. Let me move. Every strategic initiative begins with 3 fundamental questions, which is understanding the current state of the organization. What is the target state, and what strategic roadmap are we putting in place, which is the how we can actualize those strategic context of the organization. So this is just a diagram, a flow, of how this moves from the start point, to how we can actualize this. All right. So for BAs, as we are, understanding strategic context also spans to the tone of understanding our external environment. What framework do we use to understand our external environment? We use the PERSOL analysis. PERSOL analysis that has to talk, to touch or, put in consideration the political, the economic growth, the social, the technology, the legal, and the environmental changes within the organization. Are we good? We need to be able to leverage this framework. We need to be able to leverage this framework. Maybe let me give an instance of let's talk about ERP deployment. Sorry, you say I play in that space and I'm trying to rub it on us. No, I believe every organization should have ERP. In fact, it makes business management seamless, and effective, and as well, we won't struggle. We'll just have everything in front of us at every given time, right? So ERPs, enterprise resource planning, will have solutions like Odo, Zoho. All of these things help to enhance business operations and also achieving strategic goals of every organization. So part of what we need to consider is the external environment. How do we analyze the external environment? We need to do that using the personal analysis. Let's say for an ERP deployment, we need to be looking at or talking about the political space. What has changed? What policy is tied to this? What are the policy that has changed? Are we good? Let's use an oil and gas sector. If you don't consider the political policies that that will affect the business, achieving that strategic goal, we will struggle to do that. Are we good? Are we good? So we also need to look at the economic growth. What is playing? What has changed? Is it currency? Is it prices of let's say for an oil and gas? Is it the prices of things in the market? We need to understand that. Also, we need to put that as external consideration within achieving that strategic goal. You also need to look at the socials. What workforce, what are the competencies we need to enhance within the team members or the staff. Are we good? Are we good? We also need to look at the technology. What tool do we put in place? Are we good? What tool do we put in place? How do we automate those processes? Right? You see how, in all of this I'm saying, I'm trying to tie ERP to it though. Don't mind me anyways. All of these things are external, how we can, understand the external factors. Are we good? We need to identify the opportunities. All right. Okay, let me leverage the peso. I was at technology, right? What automations do we need to put in place? The legal body, who are those regulatory body who we have people that checkmate how businesses are managed, how we manage processes and automate processes. Yes, who are those regulatory body? Are we good? We need to consider that. We need to consider the environment, climate change, sustainability, change or growth, and all of that help to this framework. Considering this, putting this into consideration will help us analyze our environment properly. It will help us to identify threats. It will help us also to put or have an informed strategic goal or realize how best we can realize the strategic goal of the organization. Using this framework, the personal analysis, we can use that to achieve the organization, considering the external factors, that will help us achieve our the organizational goals. All right. Okay. So also, right, Porter gave us or put 5 forces, 5 module forces in place, whereby all of these things we've talked about threats. Of course, threat is very, very key. Michael Porter is telling us that these factors will also help us understanding the threats of new people coming in, the threats, what are they pushing, what are their proposition? Is it threatening to us as an organization? Who are our suppliers? What is the bargaining power of the suppliers? What is the bargaining power of the buyers? it will help us to position ourselves within the competitive market. Are we good? We also need to consider, what other products that can, so when we are not having this, what else can we have? You understand? All these are traits that will help you, position very well, in achieving your strategic goals. Yes, the purpose of all of this is to help us assess the market attractiveness. We need to determine whether an industry offers profitable long-term potentials. We need to understand the competitive pressures. We need to be able to map these 5 forces, to ensure that it is aligning to the strategic, objective of the organization, and also to support the strategic decision. As BAs, right, let us ensure that we try to use this Michael Porter's 5 forces, to be able to drive change, to be able to, have proper positioning, in the organization. Are we good, people? All right. And also, why we leverage personal analysis to achieve external, or to analyze our external environment, we also need to have an internal environment analysis or environmental analysis, right? So the internal, what is the process, or how is the process, present process, how is it being done? We need to evaluate the strength. We need to ensure that we understand what is the strength of the organization, in quote. It tailors down to the department, it tailors down to other units within the department, and the people within all of this department units and all of that. We need to determine their strength. Analyzing the internal factors will help us to, to improve, or it will help put to our faces areas of improvement to be able to achieve, the strategic goals and strategic objective of the organization. And there are common tools for us to be able to do this. We have the SWOT
Hello, Mr.
analysis.
Kingsley.
Yes, please, Mercy.
Okay, your session will soon be over, please.
Oh, okay. Let me try to fast track. Sorry. All right. I think, 12:50. Oh, sorry. All right. So we need to put some tools in place, the VMOS, right? We all get to understand the vision, the mission, and all of that. We need to have also a balanced scorecard, or understand how we can use balanced scorecard to, drive all of this analysis. Resource audit, of course, how often we drive audit within like I said, resources are the people, the personnel, the tools, and all of that. How often do we audit them? And also the product portfolio analysis. We need to evaluate our product, the market, and all of that. This will help to, put the strategic goal in place. So the VMOS framework is talking about, like I said, the vision, the mission, the objectives, the strategy and tactics to how we can be able to achieve strategic goals of organization. Why this matters? Because it will create a strategic alignment between the team, and also for them to achieve the goal of which the organization is proposing. The bridges, the bridge visions to execution. What do we need? What are those things we need to be able to execute the strategic goal of the organization, and also how to improve the execution, right? We also need to look at that. I mentioned SWOT analysis. This framework will help in understanding how we can position the organization. What are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? What are their opportunities? And what are their threats? We've talked about threats before now, and also we can't do without this analysis. This will always help us. The personal analysis, the SWOT analysis, the VMOS framework, and all of this will help us to, position properly. And also we can't do without looking at some strategic tools to, understanding or achieving our goal. I believe so many of us on this call understand, or has had what we call the business model canvas. This will help us to describe how an organization creates, how they delivers and captures value across the 9 blocks. So the business model canvas is made up of 9 blocks, right? So as BAs, we need to understand how to use this tool the business model canvas, the business capability model, that defines what the organization must be capable of doing to be able to achieve their strategic goals. We need to also understand value stream mapping, where we'll have a visual, where we'll get to visualize how the value flows from end to end, from the customers to the employees to the, in actualizing the objective of the strategy, and also target operating model. We need to ensure that we leverage these tools. We need to have them at the back of our mind as BAs. Also, enterprise architecture, how the business goals align with the strategic objective of the organization, right? What technology do we need to put in place? What are the resources we need to put in place? And also what are the change we need to be able to evaluate the change that has come or the change that we have implemented as it is. All right. So summary takeaway, right? The strategic context we need to, like I said, the long-term direction is very key, right? The business analyst role, you need to play a very vital role to achieving the long-term goal of the strategic goal of the organization by considering the external, doing your external and internal analysis, leveraging personal analysis, SWOT analysis, and all of that. You need to, like I said, okay, use this and the Michael Porter's 5 force, to achieve all of this: the vision, the mission, the objective, and strategy goal, and also how to execute them using the business model canvas, and also the synthesis around it, leveraging the SWOT analysis and all of that. All this will help in aligning and achievement of the business objective and strategic goals. All right, people, what question do you have for me before we call it a day? We'll have few minutes for this session to be over. Please, can I get your questions? Hello, people. Quickly, let's look at our questions. Let me take your questions. I am in the chat box. Well done, sir. Thank you, Nick. All right. Thank you, Anthony. Yeah, definitely the slides will be shared. Definitely the slides will be shared, Anthony. Okay. Hello, please, what AI tool can... AI is a big thing, so leverage on any AI tool you can. Be aware of what they can do for organizations. So there's no limit to the knowledge of AI that you should have. Okay, your question, Mr. Anthony. Thank you, Joseph. Are we going to have details of these models? I believe in the course of this training, yes, other aspect of the BA, they will get to break down some of these things to us. All right, thank you, Mary. Thank you. Okay, Ogene, thank you. Great job. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate. Okay, more questions. Please, what do? I am a GM. My chairman does not believe in this. When you say BI, can you break it down? Let me, is it BI things, business improvement or business interaction or interface? I don't know which one you're addressing, sir. So you need to try to, position the value proposition, make him understand how best or how simplified we can have, how simplified this improvement will help the business. So yes, you need to be able to understand the problem first, so you can be able to make your the boss or the chairman or the other stakeholders to understand why we need to have these things in place. Oh yes, so as a BA does a whole lot. There's a part of process improvement where maybe a project manager, of course, before the project manager will do well to manage the project, the business problem or the problem of the business has to be defined, whereby that is where a BA comes in. He is so conservative. Maybe he doesn't want to move his business from point A to B, C, D, as the case may be, right? So, but yeah, it's up to you to ensure you define the problem. When you know the problem, you can propose the solution. All right, Messi, I don't know if we still have more questions. Data protection should be put forward to avoid litigation because of the initiative obtained from, of course, people. When driving all of this, there's an aspect of security, there's an aspect of data protection. Of course, you're not just jumping on things just to deliver solution. Yes, definitely all of those things should be put into consideration. As a small scale business owner, when a transport business enterprise, what best can I use to move my business forward? Because most of my drivers are uneducated and work based on percentage. So, all right, this is Bello, right? This is this has to do with business consulting, right? Maybe we don't get to take that on this call. However, be sure of those problems. Ensure you map those problems down, because yes, you can't. There are people uneducated people that also drive business goals. So you need to know those weaknesses so you can know what solution you put together to achieve your goal as a business owner. All right, Messi. Sorry, I've taken 2 minutes extra. Sorry. All right, thank you, people. Thank you. I think my time is up at this time, and Messi, take over the.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Kingsley. That was an amazing presentation, and our students too are attesting to that fact. We are truly grateful, especially with the discrepancies with the time again, and you managed to come through for us. So thank you very much, Mr. Kingsley.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
So without further ado, we'll be moving